Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody had a really awesome Christmas holiday, however you celebrate. I hope it was full of good food, love, and maybe a present or two. And speaking of a present or two, we've got a couple of Final Fantasy VII Remake newsworthy drops today. So this is not theory speculation stuff. This is stuff right from the mouth of people who are working on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Which is pretty cool because we don't get a lot of this right now with everything being the way it is. So first up, Itachi Mochi, who has been dropping a lot of translated Famitsu article stuff, Ultimania, Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff. She has a tweet up on her Twitter page that she shared from the mocap actress who's playing Aerith in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Right here, I'll pull it up so you all can see it. We'll zoom in on it here real quick. This is Aerith's voice actress right here. This is her Twitter account. Let's see. It is Asuka Yoshikawa. Yeah, okay. Asuka Yoshikawa. This is the voice. This is the mocap actress playing Aerith. It's a shot of her from the mocap session. She's still got a mocap suit on. And it's translated to say, I finished a 4-hour shoot with Sephiroth's motion actor yesterday. The staff praised us. I'll be working today too. Thanks for your Christmas messages and gifts. I enjoyed them in between shoots. Awesome. So right here we got confirmation that she is working on stuff for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 now. Before everybody jumps to conclusions about, it's the scene, they're doing the scene. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to require 4 hours of mocap session, which, it's a lot of physical stuff if you were doing the, I won't get into it, but there is also a little thing from Yoshinori Kitase. He's talking a little bit about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. So Kitase had an interview, I think it was with Famitsu, if I'm not mistaken, and he's talking about what he's anticipating for 2021, basically. So we'll get to the meat of it here real quick, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so this says, keyword for 2021, this story will be connected. Okay, so this is Kitase basically telling us that what they finished in Remake at the end of that game is going to carry over. And I think this is him telling us that a lot of questions are going to be answered in the second game. So he says, aspirations for 2021. The long-awaited Final Fantasy VII Remake was finally released in 2020. The new world of Final Fantasy VII has only just begun. My aspirations, not just in 2021, but beyond, will be how the story will broaden from here on out. It's so exciting that I can't even imagine what it will be like. Please look forward to it. Latest info. Of course, development for Final Fantasy VII is progressing smoothly. Notice something big here. Okay. Something big to take in here. He says the long-awaited Final Fantasy VII Remake was finally released in 2020. He continues to not say remake anymore. Notice that. He says the new world of Final Fantasy VII has only just begun. He talks about that. Then down in latest info, he says, of course, development for Final Fantasy VII is progressing smoothly. However, please wait a bit longer for more details. This is big. This is the first time we've seen anybody from the company talk about it this way. And I just happened to catch as I was reading through it earlier, and I thought you all would find this interesting just like I did. This is big, and here's why. They're not calling it Remake anymore. The first game was called Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we all figured out pretty quickly what they were doing. It's Sephiroth remaking the storyline, right? He's not calling it Remake anymore. So going forward, this game will not be called Remake. I have a feeling it's going to be called Final Fantasy VII something. Final Fantasy VII something, right? It's going to have a subtitle each time. We called that, guys. We called that here on my channel. We discussed it. I made a video. I can't remember which. There's so many videos. I'd have to go back and look. There was a video where I came out and we were talking. We were having a discussion. All of us were in the comments leading up to the video that we said, this game is no longer considered a remake. This will be the story of Final Fantasy VII moving forward. This is the sequel that we've always wanted. We've always wanted like a remake or a sequel. The first game was kind of both, right? So a lot of people, we don't have to get into all that, the opinions. We know what they are. We know they're out there. I'm in the camp that I love the story, and I love that we don't know what it's going to do or where it's going. And I think this is hugely important how he worded this. So after he says the long-awaited Final Fantasy VII Remake was finally released in 2020, he does not call it Final Fantasy VII Remake after that. The world of Final Fantasy VII has only just begun. Development for Final Fantasy VII is progressing smoothly. However, please wait a bit longer for details. Now, how much longer that is, let's discuss that real quick. I think we will get some news, maybe a teaser trailer about Final Fantasy VII Remake, whatever you want to call it, Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Part 2. I think we're going to get information about that here in 2021. Teaser trailer, some information, maybe some screenshots, maybe some little info leaks that Square Enix puts out, little shots of information here and there. It's interesting, right? They're going to be focusing on Final Fantasy 16 until that's out, but after that, they're going to be refocusing on pushing this. Once 16's out, and it's got that 2 or 3 months of sales push after the game releases, trailers, the media rounds, all that kind of stuff, we're going to be right back on this. And I think their developmental cycle right now, I think that it's right on time. I think what they're doing is right on time. I think we're going to get information about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I don't even feel comfortable calling it that now after reading that. I think we're going to see information on it probably around E3. I don't think it'll be before that. Maybe just a teaser trailer or something just to keep people interested. Maybe during like a state of play or something like that. I think second half of this year we're going to start seeing some good stuff for Remake 2. Well, you know what? Statute of limitations, like I said on Twitter, on Final Fantasy VII OG spoilers is over. If they were doing the scene where Sephiroth kills Aerith, it would be physical and demanding, but I don't know if it'd be a 4-hour shoot and then requiring them to work today. What I think is happening is they are doing what I suggested they were probably going to do. They are going to reveal what's going on in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 and the story as a whole through dialogue between Sephiroth and Aerith, right? We're going to find out in this game each of their angle, kind of, and what they think it means and what they learned from the planet individually. And I think Sephiroth wants to know what Aerith knows. If she knows anything he doesn't know, because I get the feeling this time around Sephiroth's going to be apprehensive about killing Aerith, because that's one of the big things that he might want to change. Now, I still think she's going to die. I still think she will die at some point. So I'm not getting into all that right now, but I think that's one of the things the character will want to change based on how things have gone previously for him. Every time time loops over again, he gets his other shot. Now he knows this every time he has done this, and every time he has failed. So he might be trying to talk to Aerith to convince her to tell him what's wrong, because at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, they had that scene where they're talking to each other, right? And she says, "You're wrong." He's just kind of smirking at her or whatever. And there's some dialogue where he's kind of blanket talking to everybody, right? And then he shows her Zack confronting the soldiers. Now he shows her what had happened, basically, or the planet shows her. Somehow she sees it, Cloud sees it, we know that. And she talks about Sephiroth a little bit before they go into the fissure that he cut. But this is interesting stuff. Now, that's it. I won't keep you all too long. That was some interesting stuff. Too interesting not to share with you all. I was excited when I read that stuff and saw the thing with the motion capture actress. We're going to get a lot of Aerith Sephiroth scenes, right? We're going to get some Aerith Sephiroth scenes where they're talking and they're discussing things. And they don't even have to be face-to-face. They could be mental, in the planet, whatever, however you want to consider that, the spiritual plane, you know. These two characters are transcendent right now. They are bigger and badder than anybody out there, right? Because of their knowledge. Now, the knowledge is useless now because things are changing. They're going to go in their own direction. Now Sephiroth has the knowledge of what happened before, and he is free to do what he wants to now. Do it according to his plan, based on the knowledge that he has. Aerith is on the other end of that. she doesn't know what she's supposed to do now. She was going totally by the planet's plan. All she had to do was do what the planet said, and I think she knew she had to stop Sephiroth before he could basically have the Whispers defeated. They all fell into his plan, so he's in the good right now and she's in the bad, but I think they're still going to be wanting to talk to each other to kind of get an idea of what each of them want to do and what direction they want to go. So I won't get into that now. The news stuff is what I wanted to talk about with you all. That was great. Again, you all have a great night. Keep rocking. Keep rocking. I can't stress that hard enough. We got some good stuff coming. We got information starting to come out a little bit. I think all the companies want to get through the holidays. I think in January and February, we're going to start seeing a little bit of stuff leaking out like we did today. I think either around E3 or maybe some other event they got planned, we're going to start seeing some more stuff. I'm also excited about Final Fantasy 16 and this Project Athia they're working on. I can't wait to see what they're doing with that. But you all have a great night. Be good to each other. Stay safe out there. And you'll all be seeing more from me very soon. I've got at least 3 theory videos I want to drop this week. I might save one for the week after and just do 2 a week, but we're going to get to it. You all have a great night, and I'll see you all soon.